Hello, this is Arielle of Inconspicuous Bear, and I'll be narrating the 10-man version of the Heroic Immerseus encounter in the Siege of Orgrimmar from a Guardian point of view. For the Heroic encounter guides, I'm not going to re-explain the normal mode mechanics. If you need a rundown of those, go ahead and click on the normal mode guide, the link to it in the top right-hand corner of the video you're watching right now. I'm only going to talk about the new Heroic encounter mechanics. Speaking of new Heroic encounter mechanics, the first thing that happens in Heroic is when Immerseus is in his coalesced form, he will cast something called Swelling Corruption. This puts a number of stacks on him in a debuff equal to the amount of corruption he has. He has a corruption bar. Divide that by 2, it's the number of stacks he gets. This represents the number of little elementals, or little blob slime things that are going to spawn when he is struck by a single target ability. The trick is, or I guess the catch, is that when someone hits him with a single target ability, that person then gains a stack of a debuff, which does damage to them. At around, or normal people like DPS and healers don't really want to go above 4 stacks. As a tank, you can go up to 5 or 6, but you really don't want to, because you'll have to pop a major cooldown in order to stay alive. So preferably, you would also not go above 3 or 4. This means the three abilities that you have that will proc this are Maul, Mangle, and Lacerate. Oh, and Fairy Fire. So you'll be using a lot of Thrash and Swipe while this is up. Additionally, if you're the one that's going to be tanking or picking up most of the slimes during the corruption, you'll definitely want to burn Incarnation at the start of that, and then basically just spam Thrash the entire time in order to make sure that you're actually picking up the slimes, because otherwise you're going to have a hell of a time making sure you grab all of them and making sure that no one gets smushed while you're actually killing the boss. The second new mechanic happens when Immerseus is submerged. The pool that exists in normal mode in the center of the room will now actually grow in size during the submerge phase. So you have to make sure, this is actually a tank-only thing, that you're running into the pool in order to make it shrink. Thing is, when you run into the pool, you get a stacking debuff every second that you're in the pool that does more and more damage the more stacks you have. It's nowhere near as dangerous as the Swelling Corruption debuff, but it still can hurt a little bit. I usually save Barkskin for this, just to reduce the amount of damage that you're taking, and then just spam yourself with Frenzy Regen in order to keep yourself alive. Your item choices really haven't changed in this encounter. You still want the DPS cloak, actually even more so now, in order to give yourself more ability to pick up the blobs that spawn from Immerseus during Swelling Corruption, and plus there's nothing that can actually kill you except taking 2 Corruption Blasts, or whatever they're called, to the face, which you shouldn't be doing anyway, so it doesn't really matter. However, you still want the tank meta because there's a lot of stacking dot damage, which the tank meta will help reduce, i.e. help you stay alive. So go for that. There is an okay opportunity to mess around with trinkets. I've used the Cleave Trinket in the past. It's kind of okay. It's not that great. Harem's is better for obvious reasons. And Foxtail Tip is also a great DPS trinket for this fight, because the trick is to making sure that he doesn't cast 2 Swelling Corruptions anytime he's up. So you'll be popping Hero for the first Coalesce phase and burning as much DPS as you can in order to get him down. As for talents, there's actually some reasonable amount of choice here. Tier 1, you can't really go wrong with Feline Swiftness or Wild Charge. Wild Charge is useful to mobilize one of the ads in order to give someone more time to kill it, mostly you. Whereas movement speed's always good, pretty much all the time. Tier 2, Sarah's Gift or Snaring Ward, actually really good for this encounter, especially during Submerge when you have to run through the pool. That allows you to quite easily heal through stacking damage that you take. Tier 3, I cannot stress enough how good Medicine Entanglement is for this encounter. Being able to root some slimes for 20 seconds, gives your DPS huge amounts of time to get to them and kill them in an encounter where killing as many black slimes as possible during the first submerge is really important. Tier 4, Incarnation, again, pretty much default option. Whether or not you are picking up the slimes or just laying into the DPS in the boss, because you need to get him down as quickly as possible during the first Coalesce phase. Always, never a bad choice for Incarnation. Soul the Force would be okay, but Incarnation is just better. Force Nature's worthless. Tier 5, Bash or Vortex. I've used both of them. You can't really go wrong with either one, because they both basically perform the same sort of function, whereby the slime is incapacitated for some amount of time, usually around 5 seconds. Tier 6 Heart of the Wild or Nature's Vigil. Nature's Vigil, obviously for the DPS, line up with like a Potion, Heroism, and Incarnation is really good. However, I guess it's theoretically possible to use Heart of the Wild to heal slimes in one of the later phases. I've never actually managed to pull it off, or rather, we've never needed it because we just 3 heal Immerseus because our DPS is so good. But I guess it's technically possible. Never tried it myself. There aren't any really neat Guardian-specific tricks to this encounter. I've already mentioned how useful the crowd control tiers are for incapacitating slimes, especially during the first few submerges, so that your DPS can get to them later on. However, Guardians are also really good at killing their own slimes, which is why I like Wild Charge so much, because it allows you to probably pick up at least 2 by yourself. Otherwise, pretty much like a standard tank and spank fight. It is really annoying to pick up the slimes that come up during Swelling Corruption if you don't have Incarnation up. But usually you find that between like a Misdirect or a Trix, or a Holy Paladin with Righteous Fury works as well, in order to make sure they always go to one spot. Otherwise, yeah, just kill the boss. Max DPS, really, he can't really hurt you. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and good luck in your Immerseus kill. 2 by green, 2 slightly past green, 1 on the other side, others spread around. Got the boss. Rally. Bunt. 4 by green, 4 on the other side. Got the boss. This might hit the ray, be careful. One of green, 2 of the entrance, other side. Greasy Gilly, yeah, that one.
Don't worry, Velk, I won't give you anything to do. You tried so hard with that sprint. Bleh.
Okay. There's like 5 between green and the entrance. 1 at the back. I was just like, I give up.